All right, welcome back to another episode of Small Guys Podcast. Today we're doing Whiplash from 2014. A promising young drummer enrolls in a cutthroat music conservatory where his dreams of greatness are mentored by an instructor who will stop at nothing to realize a student's potential. This movie is a 94 critic score, 94 audience score. It's a drama music, 1 hour, 46 minutes. It's on Netflix as of right now when we're recording this. What'd you guys think? Who watched it first? Let's say that. Who has not seen this movie before doing this?
I didn't even watch it.
Oh.
I'm kidding. No, I watched it today. This was the first time I've ever seen it. And right after, I went right to Amazon, ordered a drum set. I'm expected to start picking it up and start playing. Hopefully it's delivered tomorrow. It was not cheap, but no, it's a really good movie. I liked it.
Could have went right to Guitar Center.
Aiden, your first time watching it was like a month ago, right?
Yeah, I was trying to pull it up on my phone like when I actually watched it, but I did watch it for the first time recently. I mean, I've heard great things about it. I mean, that's all you've heard is good things about this movie. And I know it won a few awards. I don't know if it swept, if it was one of those kind of movies, but
it was nominated for Best Picture.
It was nominated for a bunch. It won for Best Sound Mixing on that year. But right. Either way, man, I mean, knowing the cast, it's just like I relate this one to like Queen's Gambit. Like, have we all seen that?
Yeah,
I have not. So
well, it's like it's that show on Netflix about chess. Who the hell gives a shit about chess? And you watch that, you're indulged. All you want to do is play chess. And that's how. Like,
it's really good if you haven't seen it.
Saying about how you want to buy a drum set. Like, this movie's fucking sick. Who would ever care? I mean, I guess you could relate it to Drumline, but Drumline I feel like isn't as emerged as this movie is to like the whole going to college or going to like music school and doing all that stuff. But I mean, from start to finish, I mean, I was locked in. Great movie. I enjoyed every second of it.
J.K. Simmons in this does an absolutely fantastic job.
That's my fucking
Omni-Man.
I don't think
you could even have this movie without him.
No.
Oh, no.
I don't even know any other actor that could play a part as cutthroat as he did.
It's borderline. He's terrifying and funny at the same time. Like the shit that he's saying, you're laughing, but at the same time, you're like, oh my gosh, that is degrading as hell. Like,
he's
I told these guys on our group chat as I was watching this. I said, I found my new management style. Here it is.
Yeah,
I found
just degrade everyone that walks in the door.
Well, you gotta bring them in close, dude. Like, he's talking to him in the hallway, asking like who had musical talent, like out of his mom and dad, and there's nothing. And literally 5 minutes later, he's throwing it in his face that he now knows that he doesn't have a mom, that his mom left, and that's why he's crying. You're like, holy shit.
There's no boundary, no holding back. He comes for everything. Which is, and you get to see in the end why he does.
Yeah, and that's one thing I want to add to. Like, I've only seen it once, but I mean, like, you're casually turning on, you're laying back, and then fucking once shit starts hitting the fan, like halfway through, like you're fucking locked in, man. I'm on the edge of my couch, staring at the screen. I can't even pause it. And what I liked about it was like you see him go in on Andrew. And he's going, and I mean, you just see like the way that he's talking to him, the way he's treating him, and he hasn't even had a conversation with the guy, like he's just put him right in the spot, and you think that it's like kind of just him, but then you see him attack other people in the orchestra, band, whatever you want to call it, and
that poor kid within the first 20 minutes.
Not just him.
That's out of tune, but isn't even out of tune.
Yeah, he goes, you were the one out of tune, but he didn't know, and that's worse.
And it's like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know.
But you kind of agree with it, like to a degree. At least I did. Like, if you're trying to create this, like, essentially like master group of musicians, if someone doesn't even realize that they're out of tune, that must mean that they're just not good enough to even make the cut. Like you should you should have the confidence to be like, no, I'm good. I'm in good shape.
Well, too, it's like at the beginning of the movie, before we really even meet him, he's treated like a king, almost like royalty. Like, but people are scared of him in a way, but they want to be on his team. You know what I mean? They want to be in his band. And it almost kind of reminded me of a way like Belichick, like players were, people knew he was strict, but like he won everything. So it's like players wanted to go there and play with him to be the best. And so like that's what Fletcher does with the students. So I thought that was really cool how they're so scared of him, but want to be, in his class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well, it's
no, I
because
mean,
you
I
get
think
that.
I think this movie kind of comes like full circle, especially when, I mean, realistically, like, what's the plot of this movie right when it starts? And, you're kind of going, you're like, all right, he's obviously young, he just graduated. Obviously, like, this is like what is it? It's not Juilliard, is it? Or I don't know the
I
name,
don't know what
whatever.
you're
It's a
trying to
prestigious
say.
music school, and like that's like the best of the best. So he does that, and then you see like the way that he's working him, and then you realize like it's obviously taking a toll on Andrew, and only Andrew, like no one else really knows. I guess like his parents don't know, no one else really knows what he's going through, and then you hear about the previous story of his past. Uh, Student, whatever you want to call him, and like the effects that his teaching had on him. And it's full circle. You just see it all happening within Andrew. And then it's like, then the movie just completely takes a turn after that. You switch sides completely.
Yeah.
So
I
it
thought
keeps you invested.
I thought too, like him going in the class and picking Andrew out was cool. I think he only did it because he saw him practicing beforehand, so he
Mm-hmm.
knew he could do the double swing, and or saw him attempting to do it at least. So, but yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, especially since in his first class he's kind of the backup. He's second string, so. But that was a cool scene as well, and that like just went to show you, and that's the first scene really where we're truly introduced to Fletcher, where everyone's like sitting up straight and trying to get his attention, and I don't know. But like right off the gate, when you see him interact with Andrew for the first time, it's hilarious. You don't know what to take from it. Is this guy being serious? Like, I don't know. Who is this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, when they're sitting in the class and he's making Andrew go, and he's got like a smile on his face, and he's trying to get him to play, and he keeps going like that to like tell him to stop, and he goes, "All right, we're just gonna pick it up a little bit," and he's like being helpful. He's going, and then he throws the fucking chair. Doesn't even think about it, just throws a chair at him, and he ducks and goes back to playing. And then you see him fucking. That's when you get the awesome scene. Are you fucking dragging or are you rushing? And he's slapping the shit out of him. This is all within
Yeah.
the first 20 minutes of the movie, dude.
Yeah.
You're in it. Like, I threw it on in the background while I was doing shit on my laptop, and my mom was working. I don't think she got any work done the whole time the movie was on. Like, at one point, I called her standing in front of the TV like this, just watching it. She's like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, not quite my tempo.
Yeah. But I mean,
That's
too,
that's
like,
easily one of the most famous scenes in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great scene.
Yeah. And just like the way that J.K. Simmons, like the way he's just talking to all of the students, like, man, he's a fucking asshole.
It
But
took,
I
like,
mean, then again, you're like,
three
all right,
takes
well,
to
like this
start
guy's, like, I mean, they really don't tell you much about him. Like they hint at it, but it's like, all right, this guy obviously has a history behind him, and like everyone wants to go, like, be in his group basically. And then you go and you just see like the way he fucking works. So you're like, all right, like I understand, like he wants greatness, and there's no room for error. But
Yeah,
like,
but not
but then
everyone
you see
sees
that he takes it to a step. He takes
Yeah,
it steps above that.
some people, they think he's just, okay, this guy's just a dick. Like, that's just
Yeah.
what he is. But they don't realize that, no, he's really trying to, create something great. And, to do that, that is a hard border to play. Like, do I piss a lot of people off to make something great?
Mhm.
How far is too far? Is there a limit there? Like, I don't know. That's definitely something that's debatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Because
too, to a certain point, it's almost like it's an act in a way, because I think in real life he's not that mean of a person. I'm not talking about J.K. Simmons. I'm talking about Fletcher himself. I think
Yeah.
just in the classroom he does strive for greatness, and that's why he is so hard. One of my favorite scenes in this movie, and it almost makes me like a tad bit emotional, is when he's talking about his student that got in a car accident, and he was a
Mhm.
student from like 6 years ago, and he started becoming like this famous musician, and then got in that terrible accident, passed away. But like he breaks down and is crying and being his human self, and he's like, this is who we're listening to right now. And like that, you can tell right there, this is someone he was able to tap into their potential, and that he looks at, as one of his own, and someone who he really helped out, and he just feels that loss. So it's like that right there is who the real character is.
Yeah, until like 30 minutes later, though, and you understand that he lied about it. But at the same time, the real thing that happened might even be worse, because now it might be on his conscience that he did push too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you get an additional glimpse at his, like, the humanity side of him later in the movie, that final performance when he's, going out there with those guys and he's like, all right, guys, let's just have some fun. Like,
because he's
vastly
not
different
and he's like,
from the classroom. Yeah.
Although
he does still kind of have a sick plan, like not a.
Oh yeah, he had a trick up his sleeve.
Yeah, but dude, that was like one of the best endings, and I mean, we'll obviously get to that here in a minute, but just the fact that you think like, all right, he finally like had a change of character. He's gonna be like this guy, he's not as serious anymore, like doing all this stuff, because you really don't know what kind of like show they're going to at the end. And like they mentioned it, like, this is where you'll get seen, and like this could be your career after this.
Yeah,
so
this is
like,
the make or break.
It obviously means something, but it's not a school. Like these guys are already professionals. He's not teaching them anything. So then you go and you're like, all right, so like he's there, then he just fucking flips that switch right. He gets on stage. It's like, God, dude, like what could possibly happen here? And then you think that it's over. I thought the movie was done with.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure. One thing that caught me off guard, going back a little bit, but not all the way to where we were at, was when he's in that car accident.
Oh yeah,
Andrew's in that car accident. Yeah, that threw me off out of nowhere. And it was just like his main priority was like, oh, I still have to perform. In my eyes, I'm like, oh, there's no way he's performing. This is the end. This is going to change up. No, that was just like a minor inconvenience.
He was
which is kind of crazy.
Dude, he fucking made the run there, showed up covered in blood, and still attempted to play. Like that's how much like it meant to him, and like how Fletcher was in his fucking head that like he needed to get that part, and like he needed to play that show. And when he fucking gets cut, dude, and he tackles him, like, I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, what the fuck is left in the movie? Like, he's out of the school now. Like, he's no longer a part of this great band. Like, well, what the fuck else is going to happen here? And this movie does a really good job of getting you on the hook. And like Josh said, watching it again, this was my second time, maybe third. It doesn't feel nearly as long as the first time you watch it. Like, this movie just fucking flies.
The first time.
No,
yeah, I was disappointed.
It's been a minute for me, so like I can't remember how I felt when I first watched it, but like yeah, I'd agree that like it did not feel like an hour 46.
No, I don't think so at all.
No, it flew by. And honestly, too, watching it now that I've seen like Invincible and stuff, I was like, okay, clearly they like watched this and were like, this guy's the perfect person to play Omni-Man, because him screaming and the shit he's saying, like you're like, oh, that's so obvious to play him. Really, I mean,
yeah.
I was sold watching him do this. I'm like, that's why he's perfect for that part. So
he is. Take it back to like OG Spider-Man. Like he was just loud and menacing back then.
But he can get into this like evil dickhead mind. I guess you can call J. Jonah Jameson that. Yeah, but
I mean, that's literally what he is in this movie. Regardless of the ending, like he's still a villain. Like he wanted nothing but like bad for.
See, I wouldn't call him a villain.
Disagree.
I'd say he's the antagonist for sure, but I wouldn't call him a villain.
I think he's still a villain at
no.
He's trying. If he's
enough to work someone to the way that Andrew got in the movie, that's a villain.
No, because when they had that sit down at the bar, when Andrew comes, and at this point you find out that the kid that was in the car accident killed himself, and there's like a whole case being worked against him that they think Fletcher had a big part of this because of the way that he worked this kid, and there's a lady building the case, and after Andrew had tackled him on stage and left the school, whatever, they wanted him to fucking go on, not technically on stand, but make a statement. And he was the one technically that made the statement and got him like kicked out of the school. And now Andrew goes back and he sees him at a bar and watches him play, and Fletcher catches him, and they have that talk. and they bring up that fucking kid's name. I'm blanking on it right now, but it was the kid where we got that awesome scene that we didn't talk about, which we're going to talk about right now, where it's like, what, 3 hours of them going back and forth of who the fucking played the part. And like the whole band is just outside in the hallway waiting for someone to nail it. And Fletcher admits that that kid was only there to push Andrew to be a better drummer. Like he never wanted
Which
that
is
other
how
kid.
Andrew joined the class too, by the
Yep.
way, to push that other drummer who
And
didn't
that
have
other
it.
drummer didn't have it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then you take that into consideration and the fact that they're busting their ass, bleeding,
Sweating.
They're for however long they are. But he sees him at the bar. That's not even a good scene because he knows in his head Andrew's the one that got him kicked out, and he already had that premeditated plan of to invite him into this band, get him on stage, and then fuck it all up, turn it on him. To literally backstab him. So he was trying to. Or
did he know that Andrew had that fight in him, and we got that epic ending? I don't know.
You see in his face, in the close-up where they're going back and forth, he's shocked, and he might as well fucking hop on his side, and now they're a duo. So 100%, he was stabbing him in the back.
I don't
he was
know.
blackmailing him.
I disagree with you.
It just
Aiden.
worked out in Fletcher's favor that
I think it was.
He's going to take all the credit
like,
for that.
I think it was like a 50-50. He was like, he is either going to he's going to fumble the bag here and look like a moron, or he's going to pull his shit together and blow me out of the water. There's no other way.
But that's after the fact that he already ran off stage to his dad. So he won. Yeah. Fletcher won at that point.
He was thinking
for a second.
His mentality was like, I hope, at least this is what I'm thinking. This is my takeaway from the movie. He was like, I hope this motherfucker proves me wrong. I hope he proves me wrong. And when he walks off the stage, he's like, oh, that's exactly what I thought would happen. I knew that would happen. He comes back. He's like, oh shit,
when he gets on stage, he
wrong.
whispers to him. He goes, he literally spills it. He's like, I know you wrote that article. And then the shit starts. And then he's off tempo. He doesn't know the song,
because
whatever.
He puts him in a band. He puts him in a band with the best musicians in the world, basically, or some of them at least, to make Andrew look bad. I think from that point, like I think when they had the conversation at the jazz club to the ending, I think he was trying to fuck up Andrew's career because 100%. Andrew fucked up his career. But to call him a villain, that's not true because from the beginning of the movie, when we meet him, he's trying to make these students reach their full potential. I think what he said at the jazz club was true.
That's exactly what he did.
Yeah. So that's why I don't call him a villain. I don't call him a villain by any means.
At the same time, was only 19. He was a little baby. Compared to everyone else.
These are just kids. You shouldn't yell at them.
I'm saying in general, the way that he's working him into the person he becomes, throwing shit at him, making him fucking bleed, doing all that.
But
fucking him over on stage.
I would love to run this podcast that way.
I'm going to say it right now because the ending's open for this movie. So Andrew's fucking the biggest drummer in the world. Say that's what he is. He's the best drummer in the world. He just got signed to whatever. He could walk off that stage and tell Fletcher go fuck himself, and they could never do anything.
I don't think he wants to though. I think him
you
doing
never know.
that.
It's open-ended.
I think him doing that was to say "fuck you, Fletcher," and then the way that they were staring at each other when they were going back and forth, and you could even see Fletcher's face, like he's got a smile on it, like he knew that Andrew had it, and I think. Maybe he didn't think it was going to come that night, like during his show, but I don't think he was mad about it because he was able to fucking nail it. Because that song they were doing was the one that they were trying to do in the classroom, right? And that's why he knew it all by heart, was because he was able to bust that shit out.
And Aiden, you got to think, if he didn't push him the way he did in this movie, Andrew wouldn't have been able to be there at the end to prove him wrong and play with the greats.
But listen, he wouldn't have been there at the end if it wasn't for him fucking him over. The whole point of him being on stage at the end movie was for him to blackmail him. And that is the point of the movie. But I'm saying it's open-ended. We'll never know. There's two different sides.
So you're saying from the gate when he met Andrew that he knew Andrew was going to tell him?
No. I'm saying in parts of this movie.
Before he even enrolled.
He was 100% a villain.
When Andrew was born, Fletcher was outside the window.
Yeah. He wanted to work with him. He saw that he had potential. He wanted to build him. But after all that shit, especially after he tackles him, does all this shit, and then he sees him at the bar, which could have been he knew that he was playing there, and he was like, all right, I'm going to keep playing here, hoping that I see him. He's going to wander in one of these days. He sees him, they have that drink, and he's like, I'm fucking this kid's life over. So He invites him to this. He invites him to this show. He goes. He fucks him over, and then he outshines him after he walks off stage. After he walks off stage, he's completely happy. He's everything. He succeeded. And then Andrew comes back, proves him wrong. Then they start getting that connection at the end. You see the camera going back and forth. And then Fletcher's like, hell yeah. You think Andrew's on the same boat as him. You think they're a fucking pack now. Like, thank you.
They probably are. I bet you.
But you never know.
I bet you he rescinded all the bad shit he said about him. He said, this guy's the GOAT. Bring him back as a teacher.
But the grind that he had to do to get to that point,
Whiplash 2.
Fletcher's going to take full blame on that, saying, yeah, you know, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. Andrew could have done that, gone on with his career, and said, fuck you to Fletcher.
He wouldn't, though. I think
that is what well, that's what happened in the movie, but we're just saying he's just not a villain, though, because that's not how the movie starts.
He has villain tendencies. Is that better?
I'd say antagonist. I think Brian was right.
He's both.
But again, it's like he's the best. He's the best, dude. Like you need him to be like that.
He's still a villain for doing that at the end. Yeah, it worked out. Thank God.
Okay,
but I'm saying he was
It took us 3 takes to start this. Am I a villain?
You know, a lot of people don't know this, but I was having PTSD flashbacks watching this time around because this is how Josh treats us. Josh wants nothing but perfection. The last time I saw Josh at the bar, he slapped me in the face and said, be late to another Small Guys podcast fucking recording session, and I will fuck you like a pig. And I said, Joshua.
And that's only because...
And then Andrew came out of nowhere and spit on me.
I threw a chair at him.
Yeah,
that's only because I told Josh, and I said, if Brian is late one more time, you are getting fucked like a pig, Josh. So he's just passing it down.
Dude, I wanted Mike to watch this because Andrew ends up dating a girl in this movie, Melissa Boniste, who plays Supergirl in the CW shows, and that's Mike's favorite television show of all time, from what he's told me and Aiden. So I knew he'd freak out when he saw her, but he didn't watch it.
More times than you can count.
Yeah, he probably has watched it just because she's in it.
I didn't know that was Supergirl. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm happy at the end that she had a boyfriend and didn't take him back because he was a dick for what he did.
He was.
So that was one thing that we were gonna I wanted to transition to because
I was gonna say we kind of glossed over that whole middle section.
Yeah, but he goes and I mean he obviously goes to this theater with his dad all the time. He sees this girl and he gets the courage to go up to her. So then he does that and then I mean they hit it off. It's going well. I don't know how long they were dating for. I couldn't really tell, but
looked like a month or two, like a couple days.
Focus on his career, and he just straight up is just a complete asshole to her.
It kind of reminded me of The Social Network. That
part. Yeah.
100%.
That's what it reminded me of. Just right at the beginning there.
Yeah. But it's funny because obviously Andrew reaches out to her and he wants to start this relationship,
right?
And then he wants nothing to do with it. Like a couple months in.
He realizes he's got.
He made Fletcher's band, bro. He didn't think he'd be like that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is his discussion with her at their last conversation that they had before the phone call, where he breaks things off. It kind of does make sense to a degree if you're watching.
It makes perfect sense. He was just an asshole.
Right.
Yeah. It made his logic behind it makes a lot of sense, but sometimes you have to step away from that a little bit with a relationship. Because what he was saying made total sense. If I was oh, sorry, I have to focus on this if I'm gonna start doing this more. I'm not gonna have time. His argument, I was I get where you're coming from, but that's probably a bad idea.
Oh, and the family dinner too that he has was really good too. That was the funniest scene, I think. He's it's a D3 school. I love that. Yeah, everyone.
And they all start
cutting
in on
everyone.
him too.
Well, because again, they don't understand what the fuck he's been through between the bleeding, getting a chair thrown at him, working under one of the best fucking instructors of the fucking nation. They don't understand that pressure, but old boy plays college ball at a D3 school. That's way more important because people can name football players, not musicians. It's fucked.
Yeah. Especially modern day jazz.
But I mean, it also shows
they're naming artists and stuff that we've never heard of. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even his family, they're not taking his career seriously.
Right. Yeah, which also weighs on him. All the scenes of Andrew practicing the drums were so intense. Like when he gets that big jug of water, the ice water, dunks his hand in there. That was really cool. Like seeing how cut up his hands get, the band-aids he has to keep putting on there.
Oh, yeah.
It's brutal.
We need to go to. I went a few months ago. It was really cool. I think I sent you guys a picture. It's called Cliff Bells, kind of doxing us. Also, they're not sponsoring us, but in Detroit, and it's they had pretty solid food. But the really cool thing is they have local, like a local jazz band that comes.
Hell yeah, we're there Friday. We're there Friday. Come in there, be like, I just watched
cool.
Whiplash.
And then they had
Move over.
like the last 30 minutes is anyone with a jazz instrument can jump in. And
we got to bring
you
your
would
drums.
think you would my drums that I'm hypothetically getting tomorrow.
Open stage.
Yeah. You would think it would sound horrible, right? You'd think like, oh, just a bunch of random people. It was the coolest thing ever, how they all just like tune in and know the different and it was like people our age, people younger, people way older. It was really cool. So we should check that out. It was that meal wasn't cheap. It was like $50.
Music's
We'll expense it on the
man,
small
like-
guy's card.
Yeah. Josh will run it up.
There's a lot of speakeasies downtown that have like similar stuff to that. But I mean that's
cool.
a cool idea that like random people can come up because I mean, fuck you never know, you could start a band off of that.
Yeah, no,
You got
they had
4
like a
individuals
dedicated
that
band
are-
that plays it first.
Yeah.
And then they allow like the last 30 minutes, like anyone with an instrument can join in with the band. You know, you got to be decent. And I was like, holy cow, this is really cool. I was pretty impressed. I'm not even a huge jazz fan, although I do. That's usually how I start my mornings, actually. I usually throw some jazz music on.
You know, that's the thing too. Is like I don't know much about jazz or even the drums by that means, but I when watching this, it's like it's hard to tell if he is dragging or going fast, or if it is his tempo. Like it is hard to tell how he's doing, but you know at the end of the movie, like he's going fucking crazy and like is being the best he can. Like so, I like that a movie can still get us all really hype and even though we don't understand the genre, we still can appreciate what we're listening to. Because I think the music.
I wish we had
this movie's insane.
A guest on here that was a little more musically inclined, especially with.
Can you imagine like loving jazz
I
or going
played
to a school
saxophone
like this
for
and watching
4
this
days.
movie?
Oh, it's got to be awesome.
I played the flute.
I didn't make it for drums.
Yeah.
I tried out in 5th grade, and they told me no. They were like, "You can go play a trumpet." I quit. I quit right there.
Dude, even in rock band, you're bad at the drums.
Yeah, shut up, dude. You know I
Hey,
was
my
shredding on the
original-
guitar.
When I went to Melvindale, you had to like it was they made it like a fact that you had to play like band or you had to be in band. You just picked an instrument, and my uncle had a saxophone, so I'm like, all right, I guess I'm doing saxophone. Literally went to class, and I was like first chair. I don't know if it was alphabetical order, but first chair is always the best, right? So I go in, all these people are like actually playing this shit. I'm like, how the hell does like anyone know how to play band? Like we're in 4th grade. Like what the fuck are you guys doing?
You
I
were
fucking
first
go,
chair
he's
because
like-
you were cute.
Yeah. And he goes, he's like, all right, everyone play a note. And I was like, so like I would have been better off ripping ass in that chair. It would sounded better than what I played. He's like, yeah, so and then
So
I got
Aiden, you're gonna
kicked
be on the
out.
triangle.
Yeah, that's what literally trying to get me on like the xylophone, and I was like, no, like I quit band. I just never went. I just got taken out of the class.
Yeah, because I think band was a thing in elementary school that I would go to every week or something like that, or every 2 weeks.
That was
Twice
like
a week
music
we'd go.
class.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they had
music
they had
class
us
or whatever you call
singing.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and how
Singing,
yeah,
rapping.
in our elementary schools, yeah, we all shared a music.
We're doing
teacher
"Lose
every
Yourself"
week.
by Eminem.
No, dude, you'd be singing some dumbass
He wore-
songs.
He wore
And
some
then-
penny loafers, didn't
Dude, and then in 4th grade and 5th grade, you had to go to a fucking winter and spring concert. Like, you had to go. It was a part of your
he? I
grade.
remember that.
It was fucked up. And then, like,
I'm
it
so
was
glad I
crazy
didn't do
because
that.
that would be the only time, like, there was twice pre-middle school. Me and Andrew were in the same room, and it was because we had to sing these fuck-ass songs in front of everybody.
What's crazy is I do not remember that very much. I might have missed
Yeah,
that
you know
day.
what? You probably skipped.
I might have missed that day. Yeah, because I got to Elm Park in 5th grade, so I just got the tail end of that shit.
Ah, yes, that makes sense then. But yeah,
Well-
fourth grade, fifth grade, they'd send you to the auditorium at the high school, and you would sing your little heart out.
I vaguely remember that.
The movie news on this is pretty good. J.K. Simmons suffered 2 cracked ribs when Miles Teller tackled him during the last 2 days of shooting.
Did they have a
Brutal.
stunt double for that?
I guess not. I don't think they had a huge budget. Dude, I mean, J.K. Simmons is up there in age. Although he kind of looked kind of ripped,
Oh, yeah.
didn't he? His
Yeah,
arms
he was
kinda
getting
looked
ready
big.
for being Omni-Man. He was a couple years out. He was
Yeah,
getting
they're
ready.
like, this isn't live action, man. The director and writer of the film could not get the funding for this movie, so he instead turned it into a short film and submitted it into Sundance Film Festival in 2013. And there is a watchable version of that, so
That's
pretty
crazy.
interesting.
I wonder how different
Yeah.
it is.
It ended up winning the July Award, so that's kind of cool. So I think once it won that award, he just was able to get funding for it pretty easily. So the film was shot in 19 days, and nearly a full day was dedicated to the scene of Fletcher in his office. But that final scene was cut from the movie. The director still believes that the scene was ultimately helped Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons develop their chemistry together. J.K. Simmons won 47 awards in his role as Fletcher. He deserves it. For the slapping scene, J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller filmed several takes of Simmons only miming the slap, but then for the final take, Simmons and Teller decided to go real for the scene, and that's the one they went with. During the more intense practice scenes, the director wouldn't yell cut so that Miles Teller would keep drumming until he was exhausted. So that's pretty cool. J.K. Simmons stated that his character Fletcher, calling Miles Teller a self-righteous little prick, was the only line he improvised throughout the whole movie. And the last one, the film is one of the lowest grossing movies ever to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture.
I'm glad it still made it.
Yeah. It's pretty cool that such a small movie like this could... I think box office in the U.S., according to IMDb, is $13 million.
So did you mention on one of those that... Was it Miles Teller actually playing the drums?
Yeah.
So, did he have to learn?
Yeah.
So
I don't know
I'm
if he had to
sure,
learn, but he was
I'm
actually
sure
playing
a
the
lot of
drums.
it's ADR, but I mean, just the fact
Sure.
that it's on point with the beats.
Yeah, so he'd be drumming, and the director would just never call cut until Miles Teller literally couldn't do it anymore physically until he got exhausted, which is crazy to do. Yeah, but I mean, those shots, it's like, you're watching him move, dude. He's so fast and
he had a
fucking the
Fletcher
sweat.
in real life.
Yeah,
The
Yeah,
director
Right.
was quite
The director
literally
hates him.
Fletcher.
And the amount of times you see the blood on the drum set.
Yeah,
I
that was
don't know.
crazy.
Yeah, so the budget
This is
was
like, how does
estimated
he
to be
just replace
$3.3
those?
million.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, actually, considering. I mean, I guess there's, the set's not too crazy or anything, but just the performance for if you look at it that way, like the performance of these actors and what we get for that little bit of money. I mean, Brian basically has that in his savings.
True. Wait.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
and you got to think like an actor like J.K. Simmons, who's well established at this point, probably took like $60K to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Which is cool.
but obviously, I mean, 47 awards for it. And he's like, he's the character that him and Andrew are the main leads. So, yeah, it's hard to see this movie being as good as it was without him. And I remember when this came out in 2014, it being such a big deal that he was in this movie, like the way he portrayed it, the way he acted in it.
Yeah, I would say, I hate to say it to Miles Teller, but you could have probably flipped him out for someone else and it wouldn't have had a huge impact. I think he did a good job. Don't get me wrong. I thought Miles Teller did a good job in this, but
and he looked like a 19, 20-year-old.
Dude,
I was gonna say this is also pretty
fucking
early in his
love
career.
Miles Teller. I think the
Yeah.
only thing he had done prior to this, the movie that
Project
I
X.
met him from, was fucking the Footloose remake that had came out, I
that's
think, the year prior.
2011. Yeah, Footloose was 2011. Project
Okay.
X was 2012,
Yep.
and then 21 and Over is 2013.
Yeah, so, again, he didn't have a lot
Fan
under
Four
his
Stick
belt.
was after.
Yeah, Fan Four Stick, we
it's
were in high
War
school
Dogs.
back then.
I'm trying to think
War
of
Dogs.
I think his earliest project
Dude,
was
I love
Footloose.
him. Yeah, dude, Footloose was my introduction to him. Love that movie. Love
Wasn't it
Miles
Divergent
Teller.
movies?
I think
you
Project
say?
X.
He was in the Divergent movies.
Yes, he
Was
was.
he really?
Love that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I think I only saw the first one, actually.
Is Divergent the one with fucking Theo James?
Yeah,
Or-
it's in Chicago.
Okay,
but it's
yeah.
Aaron
It's all
Rodgers' girlfriend?
dystopian.
Yes. Yeah, it's like
Ex-girlfriend.
They're
it
not
came
dating
out right
anymore?
around the same time the Hunger Games
No.
came out.
I heard the. Have you guys ever seen the Spectacular Now?
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah.
Isn't it him and like who is it?
I think it's Shailene Woodley. Pretty sure.
Yeah, the girlfriend.
I think they did 2 movies together.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, do you guys want to get into scores for this?
Yeah, let's roll with scores.
I can start off
Covered
because
everything.
I was new to this movie, I guess you could say. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get too much into it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, like you said, it's a genre. I mean, just the plot, drumming. I mean, I don't have any musical background, anything like that. I like music. I actually do like live music. Like bands and stuff like that. Not going to a concert and shit like that. And anytime you go out to eat and you see a live musician, something like that, like it's always good to hear it because I mean it's natural,
Mhm.
But no, I mean this movie, dude, fucking locks you in from the start, and I mean it's like a thriller. It's a drama thriller. At some parts it gets kind of scary, like I guess you could say. Like I mean you feel bad for Andrew at some point, but I mean all in all, I like my take on the movie better. I like that at the end of the movie, he says, "Fuck you, Fletcher," goes and lives his life. Fletcher's just nothing. He's just out of the picture. Like he doesn't take any credit from Fletcher. He thinks of Fletcher as like basically unlocking his potential, like driving him to be, where he is now. So all in all, great movie. I'll probably definitely rewatch this one. Um, I feel confident. I don't know. I'm kind of setting the stage here. I'm gonna go 95. 95 out of 100.
Too low.
I think it's quality. It might. No, I feel confident there.
I'm fucking with you.
No, that's
I'm only
good.
saying that because 95 is what I had in my head as well.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can't give it a 99. I think 95 is good solid ground. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I enjoy it. I highly recommend it.
No, for you just seeing it once, I think that's a really good score.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Since
It's not
I
my
just
favorite
said
movie
it,
of all time, but it's a fucking good movie.
Yeah, great movie.
yeah. But like I just said, I was also not contemplating, but deciding that I was going to give it a 95 earlier. Again, second, third time watching it, can't remember. I had only watched it within, I think, maybe 12 months, somewhere in that time frame. I hadn't really seen it when it came out, but it was always in the back of my mind. And then I think they had it on Prime at one point, and that's when I had watched it twice because it was just so fucking good. And again, like the boys said, like J.K. Simmons makes this movie, and Miles Teller could have been swapped out, but again, big Miles Teller fan, so I'm glad they kept him. And again,
No, I think he did a great job.
he actually looked like a 19-year-old boy, so you gotta love that. But again, the fucking pacing on this movie, right at the beginning, again, I turned this movie on, no context for my mom. I was like, "You want to watch a movie real quick? Like, we're gonna review it tonight. Like, I haven't seen it in a minute." She was like, "Yeah, throw it on." And that beginning scene is just him drumming. And mom goes, "What is this?" And I go, "Oh, it's called Whiplash." I go, "Probably should have told you it's like a drummer movie, so it's gonna be a little louder. Let me know if you have a meeting. Like, I'll turn it down." And yeah, you just hear the drumming from the beginning, and it goes. And then, like Aiden said, it's full circle because then that's how the movie ends. It's like him drumming away, and then it just cuts to black, and you get the credits, dude. After that wild ass ride that we went on for that past hour 46, like it's a great fucking movie, dude. And I'm glad that it got nominated. This is one of those ones that truly deserved all of those nominations and all of those fucking awards. So yeah, 95. Go out there, watch it if you haven't seen it. And if you listen to this and got it spoiled, fucking still go watch that movie. Like it's so good.
Can I follow that up, Josh, and you finish? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Overall, very enjoyable. I'm not surprised that it won. Like some of the sound mixing awards, definitely deserved that without a doubt. Went into this with no knowledge other than that one really, I would say, like famous clip where he's just swearing and degrading someone, is the one I saw before anything. I think I saw it on TikTok or something. But that was the only impression I had of this movie. So I knew J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller were in it. That was basically it. I went into it with nothing, didn't watch a trailer or anything. And I really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend this one. My mentality is I don't know what I would change. The only thing I think I'd change is give me another 20 minutes, honestly. I liked the ending a lot. I liked how it was kind of open-ended. I think Aiden is wrong on his interpretation of the ending. I don't think he's so evil. But whatever. I'm gonna edge these guys out and go 96 out of 100.
Oh.
My original score was also 95 actually, but I just cannot be a copycat. So I'm gonna just up you guys and go one up and go 96. I feel good with that. I'd give it that. It's one of those ones that you definitely need to watch. Definitely watch it at least once. Anything over 95 for me is at least you got to watch it once. So yeah, 96 out of 100.
That's a good score. Yeah, I've seen this like a handful of times. It's one of the few where I'll like recommend it if someone asks. But I do like warn them that it does get intense because it does, and it is stressful to watch. I one of my favorite scenes I think from the movie is when Andrew's working with Fletcher and he has to like he's playing the drums and he's got to like slow down and then come back up. Like that scene is one of my favorites. The not my tempo. Like there's so many scenes in this movie where it's like, oh, that's my favorite. No, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. So even the dinner scene this time around, I loved it this time around. I don't know. There's a lot to take from this movie, and it's definitely rewatchable. Like I said, it's super short, or at least it feels that way. And watching them where they start off, knowing where it's going to end, is really cool to watch that as well, just to see the progression and the way Andrew plays. So I'm going to go with the 97. I really liked it a lot. It's one of those movies. I don't know if you somehow if you haven't seen it, you're crazy. Just go watch it. Like we said, it's on Netflix right now.
I hadn't seen it until today. Right when we were
that's
recording
crazy.
this, I watched it today. It's got a good message behind it too. Like in my opinion, like basically just do not give up. Like
practice.
To practice and just not give up, and you will see something. Like, and that's been proven. There's something called like I think it's the 10,000 hours method. Like after 10,000 hours, which is about 4 or 5 years, I believe, you will be proficient in whatever you are doing. Like no matter what it is, if it's, learning to tie your shoes the fastest way possible, like within 5 years, you'll be the fastest shoe tire on planet Earth. Like, or whatever you dedicate your 10,000 hours to. If it's, I want to learn the guitar. Okay, that one I guess is a little bit of a larger skill gap, but if you put in 10,000 hours, you're gonna be damn good. Like I don't know about the best in the world, but damn good.
Well, and that's Fletcher's whole thing, right? His goal is to break you, to see if you can break the odds and actually be the best you possibly can, and not to quit, to see if you are a quitter, and like go through all that. Like you saying that shit about his mom right after he told him about his mom, like Brian said, it's fucked up. I don't know who really could just sit there and take that. And he does. And I like that the movie eventually shows Andrew, giving back to him and yelling at him and trying to tackle him and all that shit. Like I like that. And I like that they showed Andrew actually quitting and trying to walk away from drums, but then going back to it because that's what he loves. That's what he's passionate about. Mm-hmm. So I love the message behind this movie as well.
Yeah.
So.
No, definitely. Yeah, and I do want to make. I just want to mention the fact like that ending scene. So fucking good. And the fact that, he's going after he quits, he comes back. And then at that point, he's like telling the rest of the band, like, all right, just fill in when I give you the cue. And, like Fletcher's on stage right there. And all these people, they don't even show the crowd ever. So you have no idea how many people are out there. Right. You're just assuming that it's a shit ton of people. It's a packed house. And, he's going there and then these people are watching him and he's like,
that's all right. They saved on the budget too.
Yeah, and he's like, he's like, all right. He's like, ease your way in. And then, the band just starts going. He's conducting right there while he's playing the drums. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just a great scene.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was our Whiplash review. I know we're planning on these next few weeks doing like some Oscar-nominated movies. There's a few. There's Past Lives, which I really want to watch. I heard that's pretty sad.
Pretty things.
Yeah, we've done a few things too. Obviously, like Iron Claw. Go listen to that if you haven't. But like, we have a few things that will be nominated. Obviously, we've done Oppenheimer and stuff, but that will be nominated for the Oscars. But we want to do a few other things too, since we missed some last year.
Worth mentioning, Josh, when this drops on the audio platforms, we will have had all of our so far all of our episodes that have come out in 2024 here are now on YouTube too. So if you want to watch some of us bobble our heads, then go ahead and check it out on YouTube.
Brian dancing.
Yeah. Always.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys. Love you guys.